What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a really fun knife overview slash review to do with you guys. This is my own personal Microtech Combat Troodon. Not just any Combat Troodon though. As you can see there, this one's got the Hellhound blade. This is a knife that I've been wanting to get my hands on again for a long time. If you guys have been around for a while, you'll know I used to have a Microtech Combat Troodon back in 2014, way before I started the channel. And it was like the quintessential, like, super supreme double action OTF. And OTFs had just recently become legalized in Kansas, where I live, so we could carry them. So I was like, oh my gosh, I want to get my hands on one of these. And then I had it for a little bit and then stupidly sold it, and I've been kicking myself ever since. So an opportunity presented itself where I could pick one of these up, and also at the same time, the exact finish and blade shape that I was really lusting after, and in a steel that I was really lusting after, so I went ahead and picked this guy up. It is very expensive. We're going to talk all about it. Before we get into that, I just want to let everybody know, if you have been enjoying my content for a while, or if you're brand new, either way, if you'd like to support my channel, I do, of course, have a Patreon. You can check out my Patreon link right down here in the description. We do once a week Patreon exclusive videos that are really fun. What are they all about? You can find out if you decide you want to be a patron, but we do those. Those are awesome. I also have stickers available at the $3 tier, my Metal Complex logo sticker, as well as my Metal Knight helmet sticker available at the $5 tier. But even the $1 tier, you know, would mean the world to me, and it'll grant you access to those once a week videos. I always have a goal going on, so once we hit a certain mark, I do giveaways. So you can read all about that in the information there on Patreon. I urge you to check it out, and the support would mean the world to me. Anyways, let's go ahead and get a measurement of this big guy. This is a big knife. The Combat Troodon is the big one. There's a Microtech Troodon, which is a smaller guy. The Microtech Combat Troodon, which is a really big guy. Overall length from tip to the end of the scale is just a hair over 9 inches. I don't know if you guys can see that there from the angle that you're at, but from tip to scale, you're looking at just barely over 9 inches. If you want to count the glass breaker, you call it 9.3. I don't know why you'd count the glass breaker, but there you go. Blade length on this guy, from tip to scale, you're looking at 3.75 to 3.8 inches, maybe on blade, maybe 3.8 inches. Cutting edge, you're definitely looking at exactly 3.75 inches. This is a big knife. Let me start this off. This is an OTF. An OTF is not going to be legal for everybody. You need to, if you're considering purchasing this knife, there's a lot of red tape, sometimes with ordering and shipping things. In some states, it's legal to own them but not carry them. In some states, it's not even legal to own them. So make sure you check your knife laws, and make sure you check your knife laws in terms of length. In some places, it's completely legal to carry and own an OTF, but not one with a certain blade length. So make sure you check. It's very important. How about we do some size comparisons? Up against the Ontario Rat Model 1. Rat 1 is coming in at 8.6 inches overall, so a little bit smaller there. I guess I can do up against the, we did this in the Infidel video. I'll do it for this one too. Up against the Benchmade Infidel. The Benchmade Infidel is coming in at about the same overall length, maybe just a hair shorter. It's like 8.8 inches, almost 9 inches overall. So there it is up against the Benchmade Infidel. Hinting there at a battle video coming this weekend. We'll be doing a direct battle between the Microtech Combat Troodon and the Benchmade Infidel. How about up against the Spyderco? Did I do the Spyderco PM2? Well, here it is again if I didn't. Spyderco PM2 coming in at 8.3 inches overall. How about up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case the Ritter Hogue? Ritter Hogue coming in at 8 inches overall. How about up against the Benchmade Bug Out? Benchmade Bug Out coming in at 7.5 inches overall. How about up against the Spyderco Para 3? Spyderco Para 3 coming in at 7.25 inches overall. So we've established this is a big knife. Or an OTF even. This is a big, scary OTF. I think it's one of, if not the largest double action, not single action, like the Halo 6, that's a single action OTF. I think the Microtech Combat Troodon is one of, if not the largest double action OTF knife out there. What are we looking at for action? It's extremely powerful. This has got to be the hardest firing, and my original one was like this too. It fires very hard. The spring is stiffer than some OTFs that I've handled. Some people have an issue pushing that forward. In my experience, it's all about the angle. A lot of people try to push more down. Some people try to push more up, and it just doesn't yield results. If you push directly in the angle, you know, the way that this is designed, and then up, it fires just fine. It is going to tear up your fingers a little bit because of the traction there that you're going to get with the texturing, but I think this knife was really designed to be carried by a soldier, one who's probably going to be wearing gloves, in which case the texture is really going to help you out. The materials, we're looking at 6061 T6 aluminum, and we're looking at CTS 204P, which is the same thing as 20CV or M390, but it's made by Carpenter. Pretty thick, and there's a lot of steel internals on the chassis and the rail system. So for weight, we're coming in an unsurprising 5.61 ounces. I'm honestly surprised this thing doesn't clear 6 ounces. This is a big knife. It's a heavy knife. For most people who can carry an OTF, there's going to be a lot of reasons not to carry this guy that are far beyond weight. But if you really want to carry a big double action OTF that's got a lot of blade, the carry profile on this, considering it's basically a big long rectangle, I mean, it's thick, but it's a big long rectangle, 5.61 ounces, not that bad. It's not a weight that I shy away from. You guys know that my weight limit kind of maxes out at 6.5. More emphasis on carry profile, and I'll tell you this right now, the profile, like I said, not too bad, considering some knives that have some awkward carry profiles, like the Para 2 and Para 3, are often not complained about, though again, this is much thicker in the body. You're going to have more stuff. It's kind of contoured. It gets really fat there in the handle. So in terms of the profile, it's not going to bother you as much, but the weight combined with the thickness of the body might bother you. If you like to wear basketball shorts or you like to wear really thin pant, really tight material pants, this isn't going to work. If you wear, you know, regular jeans every day, regular cargo shorts every day, you're probably going to be okay. Or I'd imagine if you're an actual soldier, then this probably wouldn't bother you either. Anyways, let's move on here. We have a super aggressive blade shape, one that is, as far as I understand, exclusive to the Signature Series and up. What is the Signature Series? As far as I can tell, it's a production Microtech knife, but it has the special logo and it has the signature on the pocket clip. I don't know if he hand grinds the Signature Series or if he has some sort of specific involvement, and by he I mean Tony Marfione. I don't know. I believe the Hellhound blade shape was designed by him and his son, as far as I understand it. It is exclusive to the Signature Series knives, and these Signature Series knives cost more money. I can't tell you exactly why that is. I think there is something special about them, and I wish that I knew exactly what it was. I looked and I couldn't find anything, so if somebody knows or somebody can clarify, please let me know down in the comment section. I know this is stuff that I really should know before I do the review, but the review is more so on the knife itself. You know, in any case, check down there. Somebody can clarify. Somebody always corrects me. But if you want this blade shape, you are going to have to bump up to the Signature Series. There's a lot of different blade shapes that these things come with. You know, standard level, you can get the dagger blade, you can get a drop point blade, you can get a Tanto blade, you can get the... Do they do a war? No, I think that's it. There's 4 or 5 blade shapes you can get standard, and then the Signature Series has a couple of interesting ones, and then customs you can get whatever you want. But they offer a whole bunch of different finishes as well. This is the standard tumbled finish. You can also get, of course, satin. You can get apocalyptic. You can get the DLC. Microtech knives have been around for a while, and they are still, in my opinion, they are still the kings of the ultra high-end US production OTF world. If you're wanting to get like the best of the best, you're going to get some argument here or there. You're going to hear a lot of Microtechs are overpriced. Truthfully, in my experience, I've handled a lot of really nice OTFs. Microtech really seems to, you know, Microtech, and then arguably, you know, the Benchmade Infidel for the US stuff. Those are the big, you know, the really like the big companies, I guess. You know, ProTech makes the side openers, but Microtech's really the most prominent OTF maker. So I guess to let you know, for what it's worth, that's what I think there. But lots of different options. They've been around for a long time, so there's usually sort of a pick your flavor kind of thing. On this particular one, we do have, like I said, it's kind of a satin flat, and then you've got these the tumbling marks there down on the blade. This super aggressive Tanto here with this sort of sweep down up by the tip. We have some speed holes in the blade that are really more aesthetic, just like the Fuller and anything else. You do have some functional jimping back here. I mean, if you really had to bear down on it, you know, you totally could do that. I don't fault this knife at all, you know, for having the jimping on the blade. I think a lot of people would say, oh, you know, really, you should only be bearing down on the handle. Now, I think that the way that these OTFs are made, you absolutely can bear down on the blade if you want to. In terms of blade thickness on these Microtech knives, it's never, or I'm sorry, these OTFs, they're not really ever going to be very thick because the whole blade has to go in and out of the handle. So you're probably looking, I'm going to guess 120 thousandths. Yeah, about 120 thousandths there on the blade, which means it has the potential to come down to a very thin edge. The way that this is ground, this Tanto, very prominent flat that runs about 95% the length of the blade. And then you have this small area to drop down to the cutting edge. It is sharp, but both, a Tanto that's got a completely straight edge, and also one that's not really ground in a way to accentuate slicing tasks. This is not a performance slicer. This is, I'm not going to say it, but it does have one obvious function for a soldier, I guess. And then it's also just sort of a tool of convenience. It is an OTF that looks really wild and crazy, and then it's going to cut. It's made out of CTS 204P steel, which is an excellent steel. So for the geometry, it's going to hold its edge for a really long time. The advantage to a Tanto is not only in strength, especially this one with this enormous flat, but you also have two completely separate edges. So that's nice. You can kind of use one for scraping or opening packages, and then you can save the main edge for some of your, maybe your heavier cutting tasks. There's nothing in the cutting path, but gunk will definitely collect inside of these holes, which is not excellent because the blade goes in and out of the handle. So sometimes you might be carrying debris from those holes back into the handle. In my experience and from what I've read, OTFs, even when gunked up, it still takes a lot to actually get the blade to not deploy. Microtechs, I mean, if you watch videos that are however many years old, it's like somebody's user Microtech from like 2010, and they're like, it'll fail every now and then. Usually that's a product of it just needs to be cleaned out a little bit, and it's generally fine. These things are super resilient, and they can handle a lot more abuse than people think. Are they going to be as dependable as a titanium frame lock? I'm trying to give it, let me just get my Hinderer out. Can you use them as hard as, like, say, a Hinderer XM18? No, I don't think so. But I think you can. I think a lot of people would be really surprised exactly how much abuse these knives can take. There are soldiers out there who use them, and there are plenty of examples online of people actually carrying and using these OTFs for tasks that I think a lot of people would be surprised by. So it's something to keep aware of. The blade does come in and out of the handle, and by the way, it locks up even harder than my original. There's the slightest amount of movement, and it's almost nothing. They've almost got all the play worked out of these, but there's a little bit. No rattle or anything like that, but just really, I'm very, very satisfied. It's got such a satisfying, that noise that it makes. It's just, there is nothing like the noise on these large combat Troodons. All Microtechs sound awesome, but these big guys, oh man, that feels good. And there's even some recoil. The amount of force that it takes to throw that blade out there, bam, God, it feels good. Really like that. Can't emphasize that enough. If you've always wondered, is it satisfying to deploy an OTF? Yes. Is it more satisfying to deploy a combat Troodon? Yes. I've handled a lot of OTFs. This thing is awesome. It's the reason I went back and bought it. Probably paid too much money. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Like I said, the body is 6061 T6 aluminum. That's fine. That's kind of the industry standard for OTF knives. I love Marfion's signature logo. It's very similar to the custom logo. The sort of, it says, it's kind of got an S and it's got the M around the dagger. It looks really, really cool. You do unfortunately have proprietary hardware. Listen, proprietary hardware does suck. It keeps you from getting into it. This is the type of knife that you probably do want to take extra measures to keep clean, and those pieces of hardware are stopping you from doing that. As far as I understand, Microtech has an excellent warranty. It takes them a little bit to get your knife back to you, but they have a great warranty. As long as you don't mess anything up, you're not trying to mod it, you're not using the knife in the way that it wasn't intended, if something happens, they're going to take care of you. So that kind of balances it out for me. The fact that it's made in the USA and it's got a good warranty, I'm not going to try to get into it, but I know some people would. I think that's a good balance considering they've got a great warranty and they'll back their stuff up. I'm happy with that. Some people aren't going to be, but I'm happy with it. This is the new texturing that they've got going on their slider switches. This one seems to be a little bit easier to operate than my Combat Troodon back from 2014. I can tell you that some people are still going to have a problem with this. I handed this to my wife and she's like, nope, I don't like it. I'm making it look really, really easy, but I've practiced with it. My hands are stronger than my wife's. But she was like, no, I hate this. I can't get it to work. So some people are just not going to enjoy that. I do like the aesthetics of how this texturing on the button looks. I think that's nice. I think that's in a good place. I prefer the switch to be over here after handling the Infidel, but it's not really that big of a deal. And I know people are going to say, you're at a direct tactical advantage, you know, deploying it when the button's right here because your hands are... Whatever. I don't care about that. I think it looks nice. It's not overly obtrusive, and it takes a lot of force to deploy this. People always ask me, is there a chance that it'll deploy in your pocket? No. There's not a chance that's going to deploy in your pocket. It takes a lot of deliberate force to get that blade to fire out. I am not concerned with that thing going off in my pocket. And in any case, while I wouldn't doubt that it would leave a pretty serious mark in my leg and possibly more, no, it will not go through whatever you hold it up to. Just like any other OTF out there, you hold this up to a surface, the blade is going to derail, and you're gonna have to reset it. That's everybody knows about that. I don't need to demonstrate it. That's just how it is. If you want to see it, you can watch it on the Infidel video. I actually did it with that one. 6 body screws. You've got some texture lines. This is really comfortable to hang on to. The pocket clip is a little bit of a hot spot, but as far as the handle goes, there's some slight contouring. There's also nice chamfering all the way around the edges. Everything is just nicely done. Also, the seams here, everything meets up perfectly. You are definitely going to get a precision made, very, you know, lots of attention paid to production item. This is very, very well made. I know people are like, you can get a Lightning OTF for 30 bucks, or you can get this brand for that. You're right, and you know, you can. But if you really want the real thing and you want to make sure that it's made well, tolerances are tight, you don't have that blade. If you're a stickler for blade play and you hate that every OTF out there has blade play, the Combat Troodon, at least these 2019 models, which this definitely is, it says February 2019. Man, they are so close to not having any blade play. Much less wiggle than the Infidel. Really, really like that. New glass breaker that I like a lot better than the old pokey one. These look a little bit better in my opinion. They've got a little ball bearing up there. Actually, they did have another style. It was like a spiral tip. It had a ball bearing at the end. I think that's the one that mine had, but I think even before that they had like pointy ones, and those sucked. This will definitely work as a glass breaker, absolutely. It's actually even optimally designed. I feel like I really could break glass with this knife. And I know it's weird to say, but a lot of knives that are designed with glass breakers, I'm like, yeah, there's one on there, but I think it would be kind of difficult given where I would have to put my hands. This knife, do I feel like I could break a car window with it? Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about the pocket clip. By the way, these screws go directly into the aluminum on the other side, and I know some people don't like that. After talking with Greg Geckel from Custom Knives about exactly how much strength that setup has, how many threads are required, you know, they want to get at least 4 threads in there, and I would imagine there's at least 4 for each of those. I have no problem with that whatsoever. You're not going to be unscrewing them often anyway because they're the Tri-Wing proprietary screws. So basically what I'm saying is I don't care, and it also creates for a nice aesthetic backside. The pocket clip is a true deep carry pocket clip, which is great. I like the idea of having everything sunk into my pockets if I'm really actually going to carry this, which, by the way, I know people are wondering, are you ever going to get rid of that? No, I'm definitely not going to. This is a knife that I have really kicked myself for, and I know people are like, yeah, right. I have been tormented since the day that I let my original go, and I will not let this one go. Eventually, I'll get out of the honeymoon phase with this, and I will carry it. And for that reason, considering what it is, even though it's totally legal for me to carry it here, I'm very happy that it carries as deep as it does. That's very nice. The only thing that I don't like about the pocket clip is the bill. This is going to get caught on something and I'm going to bend it. And then I'm going to have to bend it back, which is a problem because I can't unscrew this anymore. There used to be holes here where you could stick a piece of metal in there and you could turn it, unscrew this, pull the pocket clip off. That's going to be a problem if you ever want to bend it back, but whatever, no big deal. All the way around, this is an excellent, if you want the biggest, baddest, most powerful OTF out there and you are prepared to spend what they're going to ask you for this, this is the one I'm going to recommend. The Combat Troodon, absolutely. Now, I'm a little biased. We're going to talk about some other elements when we do the battle. If this video is way in the future, check my channel and see if check my battles playlist and see if it's up. Yeah, this is the one. This is my personal favorite. Here's the downside of the knife. Even the base version of this, the most basic version that you can get, is going to run you at least $465. Ouch. That is a lot of money. Truthfully, it's really hard for me to understand how they got anywhere higher than $350 on the standard version. Now, this version is not the standard version. This is a signature series and it has a special blade. So it's going to cost you a lot more. Sometimes you'll find deals. Sometimes you'll find retailers that are selling them for less. I found a handful of extremely popular retails where these were available for $685. Yes, you heard me correct. $685. Is that too much money? Yes. Well, why'd you buy it? Because I really wanted it. That's what it's going to come down to. I love the look of this so much, and I told myself when the next Combat Troodon comes along that's exactly the right one, I'm going to buy it. And that's what happened. I just really, really wanted this. It was exactly the blade I wanted, exactly the finish. It had the black handle. By the way, these come in a multitude of different colors, like every color you could possibly imagine. And I just wanted one. I wanted like the most supreme, crazy, ultra amazing double action OTF that was out there. And I paid too much money for it. I do think that these are overpriced, but I can't deny they're amazing. So no, I cannot recommend this to everybody. Number one, because it's an automatic knife, and that's not legal everywhere. Number two, they're unbelievably scary, especially this. This is the most aggressive knife that I have ever seen. Nobody is going to be okay. Hey, buddy, you got a knife? Yeah, sure. Nobody's going to be okay with that. Not a single person who's not a knife guy is going to not flinch at that. It's scary. It just is, right? But mainly because these are just way too expensive. They are way, I mean, this really pushed the limits of what I feel okay buying. You know, if this knife was $400, it'd be right there on the edge of going, yeah, I could recommend it for, you know, to everybody looking for an OTF. But no, I can't do that. I do think that these are a little bit overpriced. However, people who are like, okay, I've got $700 to spend. I've got $650 to $700 to spend. I am looking for the most aggressive, crazy, you know, well-built automatic knife out there. I want premium materials. If I buy this Combat Troodon, am I going to be happy with it? Is it going to be dependable? Is it going to be something I'm going to love sitting and fondling on my couch while I open it and close it? And at the same time, something that I can actually take out and use and really depend on? Yes, a million times over, yes. But specifically for those prerequisites, you know, like you have to already be on the ball field before I can recommend it to you. So guys, this is an awesome knife. I'm really happy that I finally have my hands on it. You're going to be seeing it a lot on the channel because it's going to stay here forever. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video or at least found it entertaining, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do of course have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on this Metal Complex logo right here and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.